following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Garden Gate. Today's visit, as usual, takes us on two very different garden tours. Our first garden displays over 300 different hosta varieties, landscaped to create a peaceful setting and highlighted by the owner's collection of ornaments, mostly from the Brimfield Antiques Market. We'll also visit the nursery, tucked safely into a sheltered corner. Then we'll be visiting a garden with stunning pastoral views. The owner of this beautiful landscape will explain how he resolved a major drainage problem by installing a French drain. So come along and see what lies beyond the garden gate. Hello, I'm Linda Temporino. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Garden Gate. Today we're in Hudson and we're visiting the garden of Priscilla and Paul Lavasseur. And as you will see momentarily, this is mostly shade and hosta garden. I think you have just about every variety of hosta. How many do you have?
Oh, somewhere around 300.
About 300. No duplicates? They're all different?
They're all different.
They're all different. And these look like little minis over here.
Those are small ones. And then I have some minis behind you in the behind the tree here. So I'll show you those as soon as we move to that area.
Okay. And how long have you been here in this garden?
We've been here since 1975, but I didn't seriously get into hostas until about 12 years ago. And I retired from teaching 5 years ago, so I really put a lot of effort into it then.
So was it the fact that you have so much shade that brought you to hostas?
Definitely. You have to plant what you have for conditions. So
absolutely.
Shade is what we've got, so shade is what we do.
That's right, yeah. But you've done a wonderful job. It really looks lovely. Well, can we walk up the hill a little bit and see what you've got?
Absolutely.
And these are the little minis that we talked about earlier, and they are so darn cute.
They are.
They are adorable.
I've been collecting the little ones after I went to a garden tour and saw my first mini. I said, gotta have that one too. So I've been on a mission to find as many dwarfs or minis as I can, and I have quite a collection here, and I ran out of space. You actually have to put them someplace where they're not going to get dwarfed by the bigger ones. So I was running out of space, so I got 2 strawberry jars this year, and now I'm going vertical and putting them into those little pockets that are in the strawberry jars.
That's a great idea. Very great idea.
And I also have a bird bath that my husband drilled holes in the bottom so the water could drain through, and added more vertical height on that one.
That's lovely. So. But I love the red in the pot. And it brings out the red in a plant over here, which we're going to go up and chat about.
Yeah. And that's the color of our doors. So I try to pull out the house accents.
I see little punches of red all over the place.
Landscaping.
And I also can see that you are a collector of stuff.
There's another Brimfield find. It's an antique mailbox. And it says mailbox on it, number 3. I have a couple of minis that are in one of the stumps on the other side where we were just near the bench.
And I see another birdhouse, vintage Brimfield.
That's a good one. We had Carolina wrens in there this year.
Is that right?
Wow. It was quite interesting. They have they're almost in the sparrow family, it looks like, with a rust brown breast, and how it's warmer now. So they were only as far as Connecticut, and now they're coming up to the New Hampshire area.
Well, we've taken a few steps up the hill here, and this is a lovely little spot. Beautiful hostas, but I'm interested in what is this pretty blue flower down there?
That is an annual called Browalia. And I actually started that from seed, probably in February or March. And it's one of the few shade-loving flowering annuals. So I like to put a few highlights of that in the backyard.
And I've never, a flower blooming in blue in the shade is also quite unusual, is it not?
It is unusual,
Yeah.
yes.
And that begonia is beautiful. I love the shade of that.
That's a John Smith begonia from White Flower Farm.
And where'd you incorporate these flamingos from?
Well, we are a flea market antique aficionados, so that pair there come from Brimfield, the flea market in Western Mass.
Yeah.
And so they're cast iron, very heavy flamingos, more salmon than the pink that you see often. But
yeah.
they came, I've had those about 10 years, and I try to keep them out of the sun. That's why I have them in the shade.
So they don't fade too badly.
They don't, and I wrap them in the winter because the paint is starting to come off, and I take them in and protect them. So
very sweet. And I'd like to move over a little bit and check out this one humongous hosta. It's a very large specimen, and it is which one?
this is Sum and Substance.
And I have a feeling it's going to get considerably larger.
This is one of the larger ones. It can get about 3 to 4 feet high and about 5 feet wide. It's one of the few that can go in the sun, but in the sun it gets yellowy and sometimes the edges get kind of burned.
Yes,
so
yes.
I like the chartreuse color.
I do too.
In the shade here.
Very pretty. It looks very nice with a little bit of chartreuse in that one over there.
And it has the combination
Look at
of the
that.
dark green with chartreuse on
Very
the margins on the
Very
one next
pretty.
to it.
So, and you have some nice little ferns in here. What is this fern over here?
That one's a maidenhair fern.
Maidenhair.
And it's quite prolific. I've had that for a few years, and I keep dividing it and moving it into different places. Okay, I want to show you one of the hostas that is said to be the hosta. If you're going to only have one, this is the one to have, and it's called Liberty, and it's got some beautiful variegation on the edges and like a bluish green in the center. And it's a very popular one, and hard to find.
And look what we found on our stroll through the garden. This is the nursery. And tell me, how did all these plants get back in here?
Well, I dig up plants that are volunteers. They show up in places they're not supposed to be. And I pot them up and I save them for a plant sale that I have the next year.
Oh.
And so this is where I keep them. This is in total shade, so they're not getting abused by the sun. And I let them reroot and kind of gather up their
And they're well
energy.
protected from the wind.
Yep, and so when they've been here and they look like they're all set, I put them gradually to get a little bit more sun until they're in the setting of sun that they require.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. So you have it every year?
Every year,
You
Mother's Day weekend.
Mother's Day weekend.
Yes.
So you haul it all out to the street,
do,
or do you
we do.
invite people in?
Oh, I have quite a mailing list of people who come.
Oh, do you?
I do.
How fun.
So, yeah, I advertise on Craigslist, and I've had quite a list of clientele who come every year.
That's wonderful. And I'm admiring that beautiful red caladium. I love the red and green combination. Again, it's that red that you love. And picked it up all over the garden. And there's more of it here. And what is this over here?
That is a coleus.
A coleus.
Yeah,
very,
that's
very
called,
nice.
Henna. Henna, and that's one that I wintered over.
Wow.
And, the caladiums and the coleus are not winter hardy, so they have to come in. The caladiums, I start from tubers in the house under lights around March. And
Do you let them go dormant and then bring them in?
no, I tried doing that, but I haven't been successful because you have to have just the perfect temperature for them to winter over in the garage, and I just don't have the right temperature, so I just buy them every year. They're fairly inexpensive.
And that cute little birdhouse looks like another Brimfield find.
Actually, that's not from Brimfield. It's kind of a new one, just made to look a little old, but the base that it's in is a soda fountain chair base that we just put a
stick
dowel
in.
in.
A dowel in it.
Yeah.
And why are there corks in the holes?
Well, this is a birdhouse that wasn't meant to be used as a birdhouse. It's just decorative. and it has no opening to clean it out, and in order to be safe for the birds, it has to be cleaned out every year and disinfected. Otherwise, they can catch little mites and different organisms. So
Is that right?
we put the corks in it to discourage them, although they do sit on it every now and then and tweet their songs from the roof.
Yeah, great. So, and behind us is another find. It's this beautiful blue flower again.
Yep.
And what is it sitting on?
That is actually a chair. It's a metal chair that the seat was missing.
Looks like a soda shop.
And it's like a soda shop chair, so it has my husband Paul painted the chair purple so that the browalia would highlight the color of the chair.
And what is this vine behind this growing?
That is called schizophragma. It's a type of climbing hydrangea. And if you had been here a month ago, it would be covered with big, beautiful cream-colored flowers. And I've just taken them all off because they're unsightly once they're gone.
Yeah. It's a nice backdrop for this little garden.
Yeah,
right
where
here.
it works out well.
Mm-hmm. Sure does. Oh. Okay, let's meander further up the hill. And this, Priscilla, is a very pretty coleus. What is the name of that one?
That one is called something like red and gold or burgundy and gold. I can't remember, but I started from seed, and it's doing really well. Again, it picks up the red.
And I love the little green around the edge of it.
Yep. Yeah. It's a nice contrast with the vinca vine.
It is. It's very, very lovely. How long did it take you to get this vinca to fill in like that?
This has been here for a good 20 plus years. This used to be all vinca, the entire backyard here. We got 1,500 plugs and planted them all, and then little by little I've taken over with hosta and the kidney bed, and the vinca has thickened up. You can see how high it is.
Do you have any snakes in there?
No snakes in here, but we do have snakes in our front yard with the stone wall. They really like the stone wall.
It's nice and warm for them.
It is. It is. Nice place to hide when I come around.
This is a lovely specimen of this Japanese red maple. How long has it been here?
This is actually new. This is a red dragon, and I needed something for a color pop back here. So we put this in about 6 weeks ago. It's fairly new. And what I decided to do was put that in. And in the next spring, I will redesign the bed around the Japanese maple, because at this point, it was early July, it's too late in the season to be transplanting all these. So I will design it during the winter, and in the spring I'll redo some of this. Some things will go, and I'll add some more hosta probably.
So, and behind us you have a nice little setting of potted hostas.
These are all called Wolverine, and they're on 3 telephone poles.
Oh.
We had a storm in '08 and lost a lot of power, lost power in this neighborhood, and there was a telephone pole that had fallen down, and the public service crew cut it and left it by the side of the road. So I said those would make good stumps to put plants on. So
pedestals.
We hauled them back, and in the spring Paul dug them into the ground, and there's a nail on each one to keep the pot from falling over if it should get windy.
Clever idea.
And it's a kind of a highlight over there.
Yeah.
Bring out the red of the color scheme.
Yeah. Well, now we're in the front of the house, and it is the total opposite of what you have in the back. Everything in the back is quiet, subdued, and beautiful. And out here we have an absolute riot of color. It's just beautiful.
Here.
And again, you've got all the punches of red here and there to match your red door. That's lovely. And tell me about this beautiful rock wall. Did you guys put that in?
That was made 3 years ago in the summer by Patrick from Northern Lights in Milford. He did a fantastic job.
Now, is this blue flower plant in the front, is that Russian sage?
It is. It's Russian sage, and it's the taller version. Up on the wall, I have a shorter version that's easier to maintain because it doesn't flop quite so
Yeah,
much.
I've never seen one like that.
Yeah, it's called Little Spire.
I couldn't resist getting one final picture with Priscilla under her beautiful, inviting arbor. Hello, I'm Linda Temporino. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Garden Gate. This morning we're in Amherst and we're visiting the garden of Wally and Sharon Key. Thank you so much, Wally, for allowing us to come and visit your garden.
Nice to have you join us.
You like the daylilies.
Very much so. That's one of Sharon's favorite flowers, and I think she has over 25 varieties
Wow.
around the house.
Very, very, I love the way you do a whole embankment of one color and then another and another. Recently I was out at Prescott Park over in Portsmouth and they had the gardens planted like this, and it just, you know, it just pops out at you when you do a mass planting like this.
You get nice bursts of color.
Yeah, very, very nice.
And on that one flower you can see a humming moth right now.
Yes, yeah. The first time I saw one I thought it was a baby hummingbird.
Yes.
Yeah. So how many acres do you have here?
We have about 2¼ acres for the property.
Uh-huh.
And it's well suited property for gardens. It's a mix of hardwoods. We did take out all the pines to give us a little different feel.
I wonder why.
Wanted some winter sun.
Yes. Yeah. And you have a couple of apple trees?
Yes.
That looks like it's an old one.
That's got to be close to 40, 45 years old.
My goodness.
There were a couple other wild apple trees. Whether this was part of a orchard at one time, I'm not sure, but they've been around the property.
And what kind of a tree is this?
This is a purple plum.
Oh, how nice. I tried to plant one of these once.
We've got 3 or 4 on the property. We've enjoyed a variety of trees and try to get them mixed in different spots.
It's lovely. Very, very nice. Well, let's walk around to the side and then on to the back where it's really beautiful.
It's my favorite spot.
Okay. Well, we have this beautiful cluster of Asiatic lilies. The fragrance is absolutely overwhelming.
Very much so.
And they're in very good shape, Wally. What have you done all summer to prevent the beetles from eating up your plant?
We take an early season attack on them and try to either pick them off or do a very light dusting of Raid. Garden bug spray, and try to minimize the chemicals, but there's not too many other ways to get rid of them.
Now, somebody told me that those beetles are in the ground and I should dig them up and maybe take the soil out and put some new soil in.
I have not heard that, but it sounds plausible because
Yeah,
I'm not
it
too sure where
does.
they hibernate over the winter.
Yeah, well, I think I'm going to try it after the plants die back. I think I'm going to do a little excavation, see how that works. But they are beautiful.
They're unfortunately a little getting toward their prime, but glad that they could be here for this shooting.
Yeah, they are beautiful, and again, so very, very fragrant. They're lovely. So, well, what else do you have to show us?
Well, we've got a variety of trees, bushes, and flowers around the yard, so we can take a walk and take a look at those.
Okay, let's do that. Well, here we are sitting in a very tranquil section of your garden. We have a lovely little fountain coming down, waterfall coming down, complete with frogs. They're adorable. I'd love to grab one. He looks a little slimy though. And then it meanders down through a little stream through here and out into this pond. And you've got some lovely looking koi in there. Yeah. Do you have any problems with animals coming?
No, we've never had a problem. We've only lost one this year. We're not too sure why, but for the most part, it's been very, very nice and easy to take care of.
Yeah, it is. Very nice. And very sweet. Oh, there's another frog right on the moss. You can hardly see him. So you don't have to do anything to attract frogs,
No,
do you?
no.
They come as soon as they hear the water.
As soon as the water up, where they go in the winter, I don't know, but after the spring startup, we do have all the frogs we want.
All right.
And it's great for the bugs.
Yes, absolutely. Now, how deep does your pond go
This
here?
one is only about a little under 2 feet deep. And so in the winter, we babysit our fish with a neighbor who has a much deeper, bigger
nice.
koi pond.
So they don't like invaders?
No, no.
They don't mind the
So
invasion
far,
of little
they've been-
babies?
Nope, nope.
No.
So it's worked out well.
Very, very nice. And we have quite the beautiful view up here behind us. Can we take a little walk up there?
We certainly can. That's
All
one of my
right.
favorite views, is looking out the back windows.
I'll bet. Okay. Well, Wally, this is quite a panoramic view as we're standing here in the dappled sunlight, as you called it. And it's very, very beautiful. But what is this little culvert here?
This is a seasonal stream that we have flowing between 2 to 4 months a year. It comes from the top of Walnut Hill, and this is one of the runoffs that take the water down to 101 by the old basket barn.
Okay, all right. And do you ever have a water issue because of this runoff in the spring?
We had one issue in the flood of 2007.
Didn't everyone?
Didn't everyone? We literally, the water came down the stone, across the bridge. We had 15 inches of water in the basement
Oh,
for
dear.
a very short period of time. Pumped it out, and we put another diversion ditch,
I
which
see
helps
another culvert over
manage
there.
that if it happens again.
Yeah, good idea. Now, did you dig that out yourselves,
No, I
or?
had a contractor come in with a backhoe, and as you learn, when you love nature, you work with nature. You don't try to
You learn
change
to live with it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I see you have a few little saplings here and there. Are you planting them?
Every spot that kind of opens up, we take a look at what would be nice to have there. This is a little plum. It's been a slow grower, but you can see throughout there's a number of dogwoods, purple plums, flowering crabs.
Because eventually you're going to lose these big trees.
Yes.
So it's nice that you're, looking towards the future by planting some smaller ones. So by the time they grow up, they'll take over
Yes.
for these big ones. And this is a big one.
And one of the nice things about this area is we worked when we first moved here with UNH's, trying to think of the one where you can go and ask questions.
The extension?
The extension. And we had one of their foresters come out and talk about having mature trees every 30 to 40 feet. So we've taken out a tremendous amount of trees to create the view we have.
Yeah, they demand a lot of room for their
Yes.
roots. Yeah, you can see right here that
Yes.
the roots
Yep.
are coming up.
All the roots
wow.
and all the trees. Yeah.
And you hauled in all of these stones down
We
here?
had the contractor come in and
Oh.
deal those. The small ones we brought in a truck. All the big, most of the stone walls that define the gardens, that was my manual labor.
And what do we have over here?
This is the two-tiered septic system.
Your septic system. Well, you'd never know it. It's beautiful up there.
Yeah, yeah. You try to blend it in and make it seem part
Again,
of the landscape.
living with nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, well let's start walking downhill and check out your little dried up riverbed down here.
Will do.
So this is beautiful. This little dried up riverbed with all these beautiful stones.
Yep. This handles all the runoff in the spring. Takes it down to 2 6-inch perforated pipes and takes it around the side of the house before it comes back up.
And where does this little river wind up going?
This basically takes the runoff. It drops below the stones into 2 6-inch perforated pipes around the side of the house before it comes back out on the surface. And we have another little creek on the other side of the house.
That's great. I saw that coming in.
Yes.
Yeah. How come that one's still moving and this one's all dried up?
If you notice, what's coming this way is dry. What's coming under from the other side of the driveway is the water table is still enough that it flows. And they did a nice job in dry, I'm trying to think of the terminology, but for making the water able to flow out without getting stopped.
Very nice.
French drain. That's what I'm trying to think of.
Okay, French
They
drain.
did a nice job of French draining the property to take the water away from the foundation.
Now, how do they do that again? They just...
Basically dig a trench, lay a stone, put a piping on it, lay a little more stone, and that allows free running of the water to go rather than back up.
And it just... Okay, wonderful.
It sinks down to the soil and then takes it off on the runoff.
Wow, very, very nice. And it's attractive, very attractive.
If you can work things, lots of different things into the landscaping.
Yeah. So, okay, we're going to head on further on down the road and keep on going. Okay.
This is a type of cranberry bush.
Well, this is a lovely specimen of coneflowers, and the butterflies love them, don't they?
They certainly do. We have them all over all the time, the tiger swallowtails and the wide variety.
Yeah. And the chickadees, they love the seed, I think.
The primary ones in the fall will be the American goldfinch. They love the small seeds of the coneflowers.
Yeah, it's almost like a thistle seed.
Yes.
Well, it is almost.
Yes,
it is a thistle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, well, this is the last part of the tour, and everything was so beautiful.
This was just finished 2 years ago, from basically the hostas through the coneflowers, and this last 2 years we've been able to enjoy the yard and not having to make a new garden.
Yeah, it's very
Makes it
and
very nice.
even though it's very large, it seems to me like it's really low maintenance because everything is so densely planted. You don't have to deal with weeds.
We minimize the weeds. I do preen a couple times a year to help for the small weeds, but using the perennials, that's one of the best means to eliminate weeds.
Right,
A good
exactly.
dense flower.
How many hostas do you have planted here?
We probably started out with about 10 or 12 plants, and over this being the third year, they really spread and fill in nicely.
It's beautiful. It's like a cascade of plantings coming down the hill.
Sharon has always been one that likes groups and nice blocks of color and flower.
It's
really
lovely.
helps.
It's a nice way of, I like that design. And I see you have hummingbird feeders.
We both have a hummingbird and a Baltimore Oriole feeder. And we had good luck the last couple years with the Orioles. Primarily they like jelly. The hummingbirds we have every year.
Mm-hmm. And the Orioles like the jelly, huh? Not the orange slices?
We put orange slice and jelly and the sugar water for them. They'll take the grape jelly over the other two all the time.
Very lovely. That's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy. Do they like Welch's or Smuckers?
We buy whatever jar is a good jar or cheap jar. The
Yeah.
other one that loves the grape jelly, and it's fun to watch, are the squirrels.
Oh.
But they like everything.
Yeah. Well, before we say our final goodbyes, tell me, this decking, did you build this?
I did build this once we had the addition put on. It used to be a deck back there. And we used to step down and go up, and I decided
to bridge it right across. Yeah.
It just adds a little variety to the landscape.
And the less steps, the better.
Yes. The older we get, the less we want to be stepping.
Absolutely. I agree totally. Yeah. Well, thanks again, Wally. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for coming.
Hope you've all enjoyed the show today, and please join us again. Bye now.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.